Blog Talk Radio.
I had to bring Mom in on this one.
Anybody grateful for God's blood?
Tell them about it, Mom.
Oh, the blood that saved me, the blood that raised me, the blood that healed me.
Yes. Listen.
Thank you for the blood.
The blood that saved my life.
And thank you for the Lamb.
Hello? Hello, everyone. Thank you for listening to Show Talk with Angela Butler. Today, the interview is with Miss Judy Mount. She is the Vice President of the Florida Democratic Party. How are you doing this afternoon, Miss Mount?
I'm doing great. How are you, Angela?
I'm doing good. Wonderful. Good. So you've been reelected. You're back in office and everything in your area. There's a vote for President Biden's Electoral College. You're also Vice Chair of the Florida Democratic Party. What do you think about Ms. Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris?
I am so, I don't even know, overjoyed. I'm so excited. It's just an awesome, awesome feeling to know that we have the possibility of electing the first female president. But in addition to that, she's a black woman as well. She's biracial, actually. But it's just, I get chills. I get joy when I think about it. And there was one gentleman that I was looking at on TikTok, and he was saying it's going to be so great when she wins, because when she is sworn in, she will be the first female president, and she's a black woman. She's going to be sworn in on Martin Luther King's birthday, and she's going to be sworn in by the first black female that is on the Supreme Court of the nation. And it just makes my heart flutter, because I know that our ancestors are just really overjoyed and proud that we are going to be having another African American as president. And especially it should be great for all of us, because it's going to be in our lifetime. We will actually get an opportunity to see it. And I also got a very good feeling because President Jimmy Carter's son said that his father said he was trying to hang on to turn 100, so he will be able to vote for Vice President Kamala Harris to be president. Now, just think about that. 100 years old.
100 years old.
And being able to see, be, a part of history with him being a president himself, but to be able to see not only President Barack Hussein Obama, but to be able to see Vice President Kamala Debbie Harris become the first woman president.
Just give you chills. Okay, do you think she will be for reparations?
I think it's probably something that is going to be on her radar. because it has been pointed out several times that everybody else, every other nationality has gotten some type of reparations, and we haven't gotten any. And if you think about that, that is horrible. That's horrible. But the Bible also says that we were going to go through these things because we are God's chosen people. So if he doesn't give us reparations as far as the black people in America are concerned, or if you want to use the word African American, it's been on the forefront a lot. So I know she'll definitely be looking at it. But that would be something great.
That would be something great. Yes, ma'am, it would. Reparations for black people. So, Ms. Mount, what have you been doing? Have you talked to Ms. Kamala Harris? Were you able to talk to her or anything like that?
Yeah, I have talked to her on a couple of different occasions, and because the first time I talked to her, I was told by my brother to make sure I introduced myself, because my brother retired as the postmaster of Los Angeles, which made him, as Joe Biden says, excuse my French, a big fucking deal. And so he has done several fundraisers for her in the positions that she held in California, because, I mean, he knew everybody. He also attends the First AME Church, which they call it Fame, in Los Angeles. So, you know, a lot of stars and people. The church is huge, and like I said, it's a lot of stars that go there. But every time I speak to her, I have to remind her, or either she says, "Aren't you James Smith's sister?" Yes, that's me. We've been over this a couple of times now. But she's always a very sweet, and you can tell by her voice tone, she's a very happy but very professional person. And all of her speeches are great. She can react to the audience quickly. The audience reacts to her and express, you can see the love that's sharing back and forth. But, yes, I have spoken to her on a couple of occasions.
That's wonderful. That is wonderful. That is wonderful, Miss Mount.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Yes, ma'am.
But now, also, to defend myself, I'm a political junkie. I love everything politics. But I also had, when President Obama was elected president, I got a chance to interact with him and the First Lady Michelle Obama a lot. I mean, people have no idea how much. And so then when it came time for Joe Biden to run for president, I was always, because, when I'm here alone, I like to speak openly to God, and I talk about stuff, just like me and you having this conversation.
Yes, ma'am.
That's the way I talk to God. Prayers are not all the way, where you have to be on your knees with your head bowed, with your hand folded, all of that. That is respectful if you want to do it, but he's such a big portion of my life till I just act like which he is, here with me, and I'm having a conversation with a very dear friend or my actual father. But I used to tell God all the time that I so admired President Biden. I really, really admired him and loved him because, for one thing, I love loyalty, and I'm a very loyal person. But it was just so awesome is the only word I can think of. The fact that he stood by Barack wholeheartedly. And when people would say ugly things, nasty things about Obama to, news reporters and that sort of thing and everything, Obama would be just like, oh, well, and go on with whatever he's doing. I've only seen him, get upset maybe once or twice. But Joe would be ready to fight because he didn't want nobody saying nothing about Barack. And he was not, and this is the most important thing, everyone should know the political world and how things go on. The fact that Barack was our first black president, people would have paid Joe Biden any amount of money, or he could have named anything that he wanted to help them break down President Obama's legacy and his history as becoming not only the first black president, but to be the leader of the free world. So we were in Maryland at a DNC meeting, and so Vice President Harris and the president came over to where we were having our meeting, and the DNC in this case is the Democratic National Committee. Some you'll see now on the news, they use DNC a lot, but that is referring to the Democratic National Convention. But so we were at a DNC meeting, and so he came in and he gave his speech and everything, and then on the way out, he came down the line to meet and greet everyone. And, he takes such wonderful selfies. Oh, he is really good at that. And so when he got to me, I shook his hand, and he looked at my badge thing that had my name on it and my position in the state of Florida. And so he was asking me how are things in Florida. We were just talking, and he told me that they appreciated the job that I did for the campaign. And I told him, no problem. I said, because I love you. You can ask me to do anything political, and I would definitely do it. And he said, really? And so the Secret Service, his Secret Service guy was like right behind him. And so the guy kind of looked, and he was also an African-American gentleman. And I told him I got a chance, because I used to tell God all the time, please let me get a chance to tell this man how I feel about him and why. Because in this day and time, loyalty doesn't mean anything to anybody. The only thing these politicians want is money and the power. They don't even care if you respect them, long as they got the money and the power. And I felt so good being able to get that off my chest to tell him why I really love him. And he told me, he said, but Judy, he's my friend. And to me, that also meant a lot. Because, I mean, it's known in history that every president and vice president were not put together because they were friends. It doesn't work like that. It does not work like that. And then I told him, I said, and number two, the reason that I adore you is because you and I both cuss a lot. Oh, and that just tickled him. He just died laughing. I told him, I said, yes, I'm very much a professional and very much a lady and very much a Christian. But, yep, I'm with you, Joe. Me and you side by side. We riding on the interstate, lane by lane, because both of us like to cuss.
Oh, okay. All right. So what was it like? You told me what it was like. How do you feel about him stepping down and letting Miss Kamala run for president, endorsing her and everything?
Yeah, I just felt like I was not in the group of people that wanted him to step down because he was too old. Because I'm a firm believer that the more experience you have, the better job you can do. The average person that is looking to hire someone is usually looking for the person with the most experience. That way you don't have to worry about training or anything like that. So, yeah, that was the part that I can actually speak on and give you a valued opinion.
All right. Okay. All right. So she's a sweet person, said Miss Kamala is. Okay.
She is.
Kamala Harris is. Okay.
And her husband is very nice as well.
Okay. All right. So you believe she's going to win?
With all my heart and with everything in me.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else you would like to talk about? It says 10 seconds, but we actually have 10 minutes. Is there anything else you would like to talk about?
I just hope that people will start. And I know now there is the start, but more people need to start looking at what our leaders need to be and what they need to stand for. And that lying is a bad trait to have. Stealing, that's not good. Raping people, being indicted, those types of things, that is not what this country needs for true leadership and to get us where we need to be. Whereas everybody can be on one accord and trying to help their fellow man, which is what the good Lord wants us to do. Some of this stuff is just crazy. And for a person to have 34 felony charges that they have been indicted on, and you and I, as regular, normal, everyday people, if we get a felony, that's one felony, and we are charged with it and found guilty, that automatically keeps us from being able to vote, let alone run for a public office. And I'm just not understanding it. I pray.
Mr. Trump has 34 felony counts impending, but I think he's still getting a light deal. I think President I think by Mr. Trump is getting a good deal on things because here in Florida they're not prosecuting him for anything that I can tell from my understanding, and the Supreme Court moved the way they did, and he had immunity.
But that to me is just horrible. It is. It's just horrible. If it could have never happened to any other person, any other race of people, the way he has gotten his people more or less brainwashed to go along with all these that he does. And it's just not appropriate. It's just not appropriate. I don't know how, 5 foot, I don't know how it's going to be. But anyway, after she becomes president, I think things are going to have to cool back down because I think that's what started the Trump nastiness and his followers was because when President Obama was in office, he was in office 2 terms, that's 8 years. So 8 years they knew that they had to kind of keep things cool, calm, and collected, because how can you do something against minorities and the person that is the leader of the free world is a minority? So they had to hold all that stuff in, all the 8 years, and then when they saw the opportunity to elect a person that will allow them to be as loud and as racist as they are, they went crazy. They went crazy. And that's all I see is that they have lost their minds.
Okay. I believe they've lost their minds. I think it's simple. It's pretty simple. Hatred for black people, for brown people.
Yes, that's a definite. That's a definite. But I think they were under a lot of pressure that they never thought that they would see, as bad as they have treated African Americans. In the history books, it's noted everything else that happened with us from the day they went and stole us from our own country, our own continent, to come over and do their work. Because that's what it was all about. They just didn't want to do their work. Anything, they wanted somebody else to be doing it. But it's just, I think they actually held it in too long because they couldn't say anything in public because he was the leader of the government as well. So that meant all the states, pretty much had to come under his rule of law. And then black people were feeling so much better about the relationship that black people actually thought that it was going to be a good time for everybody to have peace and harmony with the black and brown people and all the minorities, trying to get a level get on a level playing field, just like your Caucasians are on a level playing field. But after them having to hold everything down and hold it in for those 8 years, when they got an opportunity to let go, that's what they've been doing ever since.
All right. So they just held it in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, hatred for black people.
Yes. And brown ones too. Because at the end of the day, they have names that have come from our historical past. They have names that they only associate with certain minorities. And it's very offensive in that language, but yet and still they do it just passing by. Just like they want to wear all the Trump paraphernalia that they can get their hands on. They want to fly all the Trump flags, the bumper stickers, the everything. They want to do theirs because that's their leader. But they don't want nobody else to have the flags or have on a T-shirt or have on a cap. They don't want any of that. They just want to do their thing. And that, to me, is very pitiful.
Yes, and the police are still killing black people. So,
yep, every day.
County, I don't know if the last person killed over here was black. His last name was Brown. There are 3 murders over him by the police department and the sheriff's department in Florida, Washington County, Florida. I don't know if they're white or black. This last one, I think the first 2 were white. I don't know if this is a black man or not that they killed over here. But it's 3 murders over him last year and a half by the police and sheriff's department.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, pretty bad. So far, I don't know if this last one was black or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they have a drug epidemic over here, so pretty bad. But listen, I thank you for coming on Show Talk with Angela Butler. Is there anything else you got to add, ma'am?
No, I just want to tell you thank you, though, for asking me to come on and be interviewed. And everybody, I hope everybody is watching when we're in Chicago for the National Convention.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Ms. Mount. Thank you for coming on.
You're welcome. You have a great day.
You too, ma'am.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Ms. Mount. All right, everyone. You've been listening to Show Talk with Angela Butler. That's Ms. Judy Mount, Vice President of the Florida Democratic Party. She was the leader at one time. Now, I believe it's Ms. Nikki Freeman here in Florida where I live. Very intelligent woman, successful black woman. She's worn a lot of hats. You heard her say what she said about Ms. Kamala Harris, how sweet Ms. Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris is, and I think that's beautiful. I hope she can be elected. All right, everyone, don't forget to vote, and thank you for listening to Show Talk with Angela Butler. Have a good night.
Whether it's the potential of saving money on your utility bill or saving money on your homeowner's insurance because you've updated your windows and doors as hurricane season approaches, there are lots of reasons for you to reach out to Window World of Panama City, your exterior home renovation experts. Get a free estimate. Find out what they can do for you. 850-807-7919 or windowworldpanamacity.com.
What could you do in 15 minutes? How about a premium oil change? At Valvoline Instant Oil Change, our certified technicians will guide you in, use only premium products, and get you back out on the road in no time. Quick, easy, trusted. That's Valvoline Oil Change.